In this video, I'll share with you what custom GPTs are, what they can be used for, and finally, I'll teach you how you can create your first custom GPT yourself. But before we start, don't forget to sign up for my free weekly newsletter in which I share my top tips on how you can use AI at work and in your everyday life. The link is in the video description. So what is a custom GPT? A custom GPT is a separate instance of ChatGPT that can be trained and configured to behave in a specific way, to respond in a certain style, or to draw on a specific knowledge base. So it's like an assistant that can be trained once to perform specific tasks in a consistent way every time. So how it does it is you give it custom instructions, which are basically rules that tell the GPT how it should behave. So the instructions define the GPT's behavior, its persona, its tone of voice, and they tell it what it should do or what it shouldn't do. It saves you a lot of time compared to just opening a new chat every time in ChatGPT, because a custom GPT has long-term memory. So you don't need to re-enter your prompts over and over again or store them outside of ChatGPT and then copy and paste them each time. You can also upload some files into a custom GPT to give it a knowledge base that it should rely on in addition to the data it's already been trained on. And you can also ask it to take actions outside of ChatGPT if you connect it to other apps through an API. However, that's an advanced use that I will not be discussing in this video. So now I'm going to share with you some practical examples to help you understand how creating a custom GPT can be useful to you. The first one is a content marketing assistant. So you can create a custom GPT to help you write blog posts, LinkedIn posts, or ad copy in your brand's voice. For example, if you run an online business, instead of adding your values, your style, and your user personas each time into a new chat, you only add it once into the custom GPT, and it will remember it and always frame its output in a tone that matches your brand's personality. The next example is a customer service assistant. So you can set up a custom GPT and give it access to frequently asked questions, brand guidelines, and product knowledge, and it will be able to use that knowledge to draft things like consistent and accurate customer emails, social media responses, or press releases. So it will be able to do it every time without being prompted again. And the final example is a family meal planner. So when you start a new chat in ChatGPT and you need a recipe, you need to give it context each time. For example, you need to say you're vegetarian, or you don't eat peanuts, or you like Mexican food. But instead, you can create a custom GPT and give it specific instructions about your diet, your requirements, your restrictions, your preferences, and then every time you need a dinner, you just ask it for 5 dinner recipes, and it gives you the recipes without having to be prompted on those specific things again and again. So you might be wondering, how is that different from the ChatGPT project's functionality? And it is quite different. And it's something I discuss in detail in my other video about ChatGPT projects, so make sure you check that out as well. So how do you create a custom GPT? It's very easy and there is no coding required. At the moment, it's Pro, Plus, Team and Enterprise users that can create them, but things change really quickly, so you can check the guidance. So the easiest way to start is just to go to ChatGPT, and then in the sidebar, you can see the GPTs section. So you just click on that. Alternatively, you can go to chatgpt.com/GPTs and you're straight there. So as you can see, there's plenty of GPTs there already that have been created by other people, so you can browse them and you can use some of them. But in this video, we're actually going to create our own custom GPT. So what you do is you just click on the create button in the top right corner, and then it comes up with that. On the left half of the screen, you've got two tabs. The first one is create and the second one is configure. So we're going to start with the create tab, and this is basically a chat that helps you create your custom GPT. So you can tell it exactly what you're trying to create, and it will ask you questions to help you refine your custom GPT. So it's asking me, what would you like to make? And it's giving me some examples, like make a creative who helps generate visuals for new products. But I'm going to create a self-development content marketer. So I just reply in the chat, and then it's going to generate a profile picture for my custom GPT. So this is what it's come up with, but obviously that's not the most important thing. The most important thing are the instructions for the GPT. So we're going to refine how the GPT should behave. So it's asking me what should be emphasized or avoided when it creates self-development marketing content. So I'm going to ask it to emphasize growth mindset, resilience, hard work, and optimism. I also wanted to avoid self-development cliches. Obviously, you can be as detailed as you want in these instructions because that will help you refine it even further and make sure that you get a custom GPT that really does the job. So let's send that in the chat. So the next thing it is asking me is, should the responses be short and punchy or more detailed and explanatory? I'm just going to say short and punchy for the purpose of this video, but obviously you can really elaborate on that and include very detailed instructions in terms of what you want the style to look like. So as you can see, you can continue this chat for a bit longer and reply to the different questions that the chat is asking you. But you can also go to the configure tab, which is basically now populated with all the information that you have provided in the chat. So every time you answer a question in the chat, it populates or updates the configure tab. So it updates the name, the description, and the detailed instructions for the custom GPT. It also includes some conversation starters, which is something that comes up on the right hand side of the screen. You can see that there are some conversation starters here that you can just click and generate content. So this is really helpful if you create similar types of content regularly. So if you need a piece on productivity habits every day or every week, then you can include that as a conversation starter. And then every time you open this custom GPT, it will come up with these conversation starters that you can start using straight away. Then it's got the knowledge section, which is where you can upload files. Make sure that it's information that you're allowed to share, that you're happy to share, but you can upload files with things like style guides or brand voice guidelines and things that will help the custom GPT understand the tone and the voice that it should be using. And then you can choose the recommended model here, but I'm not going to do that. I will be able to choose that every time I use the custom GPT. You can also select the capabilities that you want the custom GPT to have. So for example, web search, canvas, image generation. So I'm going to be creating predominantly written content, but I will also tick the canvas and image generation boxes, just in case I need a picture for my LinkedIn post or my Instagram post. And this is where you create new actions. So we're not discussing that in this video, but just so you know it's there. And then once you're ready, you click the create button, and the GPT can be private, just for you. But one of the biggest benefits of creating custom GPTs over ChatGPT projects is that you can share them with other people. So if you work as part of a team, for example, you can create a custom GPT that you then share with the rest of your team so that each of you can create consistent content based on the same instructions. So I'm just going to save it for myself and it's done. So you can click View GPT to go directly to it. And then if you want to find that GPT, then just go to ChatGPT and you will be able to see it under the GPT section. You can just click on that and you can start working with it straight away. So that's it. You've created your first custom GPT. Leave me a comment to let me know how you're planning on using custom GPTs in your work, and don't forget to sign up for my free weekly newsletter in which I share my top tips on AI at work and in your everyday life. And I'll see you next time. Bye!